Welcome to another episode of The Harvest. It's your boy Tony. I'm here with a special guest, Jay. Jay is somebody I met through really like kind of sort of through social media, but I know you know my cousin
Yeah,
Sydney, and we
yeah.
kind of like met through that. But yeah, from the Bronx boogie of New York, but also you consider yourself
Atlanta native,
Atlanta
like dual
native,
citizen.
AT alien. That's what she considers herself for sure.
Absolutely.
But no, I brought Jay on the podcast because it was and I'm getting straight into it. Just to be transparent with y'all, we started recording before, but the mics weren't working, so I'm not gonna. We're just gonna get straight into it where we left. But I brought Jay has a real following on TikTok, I guess you could say. And one of her messages that I saw, and I actually had to like hit her up and comment on. I was like, "Hey, you gotta come on a podcast and stuff like this, you know." But she was saying, talking about the it being your season of harvest. Like it may not be everyone doesn't have the same season of harvest that you might know. And basically, what we pretty much talked about on season one when it comes to like maintaining your garden and taking care of your garden and planting seeds. But I'm gonna let her expound on that, and I want to like pretty much like to our audience and people that's watching, listening. Um, season of harvest.
Essentially, I was just saying that it's not always your season of harvest. And with social media and, just being so tapped into everybody else's lives, like it's so easy to see somebody in their season of harvest and question your own growth. But we often forget to take into account the fact that we don't know when that person planted the seed for the harvest that they're reaping in that moment. And what we have to do is just focus on planting our own seeds, watering our own garden, and trusting our own growth. And in the time that it's taking for us to grow, we need to focus on building the patience, the discipline, the maturity to be able to maintain the garden after, it's granted to us. Like we want to attain all these things, but do we have like what it takes to maintain that once we receive it? And I really feel like that's what the season of growth after you plant the seed is for. So I definitely think that that's important when it
Yeah,
comes to looking at your harvest.
and I agree with that. And um pretty much what I asked you before is like during the season of harvest and like allowing your seeds to grow and taking care of them um like during that I guess you could say like process, right? During that whole process of actually seeing the fruits of your labor and the seeds that you plant and grow, how do you like manage that to where like you don't get in your head so much of like, yo, am I really doing the work or are these seeds really like growing? Because one thing about seeds is that they grow underground before you see them come up to actually see them for real. So how do you like process that and to where like you're not really almost to a point to where like you're giving yourself grace because you know you're doing the work, but also like come on now, like you get me?
It's definitely about staying present. I would not be telling the truth if I said that I didn't get into my own head sometimes. And I actually think about a passage that I read from Will Smith's book.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about how when he was younger, his dad had him building a wall on his store. The wall at his dad's store fell down, and so the whole summer, him and his brother couldn't go outside, and they had to build this wall back up brick by brick. And he felt like every day it's just brick after brick after brick, and he's not seeing any progress. But once he saw it all built, it not only built the discipline in him and the like work ethic, but like he got to see the result of all the work that he put in over all of this time. So another thing that I like to think about is our daily bread. Like I saw this on TikTok, but in the Lord's Prayer it says, "Give us this day our daily bread," and that's not necessarily referring to food, like literal bread.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much all the blessings that God gives you throughout the day to get you through the day. So, did you eat today? Did you have clothes? Do you have shelter? Do you have a warm bed to sleep in? So, it's just like staying present and being thankful for the blessings that you've had throughout the day to get you to the next day. And once you know it, you'll be to your blessing.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah. It's like day by day process of like trusting the process. Like I say, for me, I was like 1% better. That's all it takes, right? I don't have to like. It's not gonna always be good and glorious every day, but as long as I get 1% better and being consistent as well in that
right.
work. I seen a post on Facebook. I actually shared it. It was saying consistency looked like it had these water bottles, and it was like consistent. What some people may think consistency look like is all the water bottles being full, but underneath it had like what it actually looked like is just like a little bit of water in this one, some a lot of water in this one, but then as long as you keep putting in the work and keep trusting the process. And I wanted to ask you, talking about like your spiritual journey, and we was talking before about how you were saying all roads lead back to God. Um, like I don't want to ask like what makes you believe that, but how are you like through your own personal journey? Like how are you a believer in all roads leading back to?
I just feel like with social media, it'll give you all the components of God, but removing him from the process. So when it comes to like manifestation, that's prayer. When it comes to
Mm-hmm.
um like people doing these tarot card readings and psychic stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that's prophesying, but from the word of man and not from the word of God. It's like
Yeah.
all of these things. And I grew up in the church. I was a preacher's kid. So it's like I've seen all of these things like in real time in the church and through God, and then seeing it online. I can't say specifically what led me back to God, but I'm happy that I
Yeah.
did get led
Yeah.
back to God, you know?
But
So, but definitely like staying in my word, getting into my word and staying in my word. Anytime that I feel like, something is going wrong or like something is not making sense or I just don't know how to feel about something, I really just open the Bible and start reading and I'll find an answer one way or another. Or like you'll be sitting there in the midst of a situation and be thinking like, how do I make sense of this? Number one, lean not on your own understanding, but number two, you might just get hit with like a scripture like, okay, you know what? God's preparing me for this through his word. But yeah, they always say that um, in order to hear from God, you got to get into the word. And I feel like that's definitely very true.
no, no, that's real. You said something before about being present and like having that almost like having that sense of gratitude, like you were saying about like did you eat today? Did do you have a shelter over your head? Like the small things, like I was saying, like being grateful just to move your hands, just to walk, just to talk, be able to feed yourself, even be
Yeah.
able to like fill your gas tank. Like
Right.
I think of small things like that. I was like, that's a blessing. And to people that like what you were saying about season of harvest, and to people that are not like, I see a lot of comparison. A lot of people compare themselves because of social media, and like to be honest with you and be transparent, it's quite sickening, right?
It is.
It's like everyone has their own journey, everyone has their own story, and I see a lot of people compare themselves and try to be something that they're really not. Um,
Right.
but but
Even talking about gratitude and journeys, though, I think it's important to have gratitude for your journey. Like,
yeah,
even when things may feel like they're going wrong or you might feel like you've hit a dead end, you got to be grateful for the fact that you're even at that point, because that just means that what's to come next can only be bigger and better than what you're facing in that moment. And in that moment, like I said earlier, it's building up the discipline, it's building up the like that grit to just go through it so
but
that you
also
can
that
grow
faith.
through it. Yes, the faith. Thank
Yeah,
you. Faith.
it's also
Faith.
that leaning on faith, and just like like I ain't gonna to be honest with you, like and to be honest with you as well, like I had like a pretty like rough week. I had a revelation this week, right? And my revelation was I have to get the hell on. You know what I'm saying? Like And I say that to say like you can't really everybody can't go with you, no
Mhm.
matter how hard you want, how much you want them to go with you, how much history y'all have. Everyone can go with you, and I realized, and one thing that stuck out to me was like, and I had to remember, was like, God well equipped me in order to make this happen, in order to like get the hell on. I'm well equipped,
Mhm.
like, cause God brought me this far. He's not gonna, and it was
Yeah.
just that faith of just knowing like everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Everything like I planted the seeds that I want to plant. I'm taking care of my garden. At the end, also like I'm trusting the process. To where like you were saying, to where being grateful for the small things, like and being present. But it's just that, and I wanted to say that because it's been sitting on my mind all week and all day leading up to now. But that faith, that
Yeah.
that faith component. So to really like help dig into like, because one thing I found fascinating about you, right, is like I look at your TikTok videos, and you know is you can tell like, I don't know, for me, like I trust my judgment. Like if I can see God in somebody, I trust them. Or if I can hear God through somebody, I'll be like, yeah, that's a yeah, she's
Yeah.
spitting. You know what I'm saying? So like for you to, because what one thing I also noticed, like the way you just get on like and start talking, is just start talking what's on your mind. How did you get to that point?
um
To where like almost to a point to where like you just allow God to freely use you and speak through you.
well, number one, I pray for that. I pray that God will use me and my voice to convey a message to whoever needs to hear it at the time that they need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I always stick to, because I have over 100,000 followers on TikTok, I promise you the videos that I get talking about God may reach 700 people.
Yeah,
That's a fraction of the amount of followers that I have.
yeah,
But one thing that I really stick to and believe is that if it only reached 700 people, those are the 700 people that needed to hear it, no matter how many people follow me. But how I do it, I mean, I can only say through God, because I pray for Him to speak through me. When I get a word, I feel like when I get a word or a revelation, or when I'm reading the Bible and I feel like, this is, it just helps me. So I'm like, I know this could help somebody else. I
yeah.
know there's so many people out there that are feeling and thinking the same things that I'm feeling and thinking in the moment. I mean, we're young, we're trying to figure stuff out. And growing up in this generation, specifically in this time, it's tough. And being on social media with the
Mm-hmm.
comparisons, with seeing people in their season of harvest, with you trying to, grow and get through the things that you're trying to get through, um, you might feel alone. So I just like to, use what I get, what comes to me, and just speak life into other people. You know, I guess it's confidence. They say it's Godfidence.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
fast. It's I see, I hear the word, I think of the word vessel, was just being a vessel
Yeah.
of the kingdom of God. I think that I was told once that it's important to remain a vessel
Mhm.
for God, and be a and just not really just be a part of the kingdom, and to
Yeah.
spread the message of understanding and whatnot. But I want to ask you, like, what's the most frustrating thing that you see, like our generation, that's like, to where like it's like, yo, like, come on, like if you really tap in, you got it. Like what's the most frustrating thing?
The most frustrating thing, there's a lot of frustrating stuff, like the gender wars, the whole masculinity, femininity thing.
Hmm.
Um, I just feel like it's so frustrating how much of a divide that social media brings, amongst us, because we're really not that different when it gets down to the meat and potatoes of the situation. Like
Yeah.
everybody is very much. going through the same type of things, very similar. And I just feel like social media gives people a platform to give off these like biased opinions that they haven't even had the opportunity to think too hard about. And it's a little dangerous when you
Yeah,
think about it. I'm
yeah,
sitting here talking about people with mics. We sitting here with mics, but at least we're using it to spread a positive
yeah. No,
message.
facts,
But yeah,
facts.
I just think it's frustrating how much of a divide, and I really think that it's a lack of God
Yeah,
in people's lives.
yeah, and I see it as well. That's why I ask, because it's like sometimes social media can be too much. Cause just be like, all right, let me like tap, let me like clock out, because
Yeah,
it's like it's
it's
getting
like
too much.
again.
But like you said, and also I want to quote Frankie Beverly and Maze. They said, "We are one." Shout out there. I went to see them in concert last night. It was a great experience. Um, Dude could barely get out a note, but it was still, the band was what highlighted it. Look, she was there. She know, like, dude was struggling, but the message that he said, that we are one, like the whole division, the divide, oh, I'm comparing myself to you, or like saying like, oh, I'm better than you. Like, no, like, why can't we all just be great?
It really is a consistent war on social media. Who's better? Who's superior? Who get more money? None of that matters at the end of the day.
It don't, and it's important, like, and that's why I had to bring you on, because it's important, like I like being around people with the same like mindset, to where like you see it the same way I do, pretty much. And that's really like tapped in and clocked in with God.
Yeah, I had to step back from like the whole idea of being a social media influencer because it just got to the point where I'm like, this is not real. Like, there's life outside of this. And that's why I
Facts.
started to get on there and just really start. I only get on there but so often,
Mm-hmm.
like, and talk.
Yeah.
But when I do get on there, I'm getting on there with like a message or like speaking to people who maybe don't feel like they have a voice for themselves because there's just so much to get caught up on and compare yourself to. I just want to give people like, something real.
Yeah.
But I really have to step back because of like, it's just not reality. Like, social media is just really not reality. And I wish people were able to separate themselves from the social media personas, from this fast life that social media promotes, because it just really is
Fast.
not real.
Yeah. It's like another it's really almost to a point where it become another world. It's like,
Absolutely.
like social media is its own world, and it's like it's dangerous, because people bring that social media world into reality, and it's like,
What
right?
what made it sort of like what made it stand out to me how much of a different world social media was and how much people tap into those personas is when like somebody would see my TikTok and be like, "Oh my gosh, like this is you." I'm like, "Wait, don't be calling me a fraud
Yeah,
now,"
yeah,
So
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
let me tap out of social media and tap back into myself and then bring myself back onto social media. So I took like, I
You
really
said
took,
something right there. Tap,
yeah,
tap, tap
tap
out of
back
social
into
media and tap.
myself
Yeah,
because I'm like, TikTok is not about to take me. But yeah, so and that's the crazy thing too. Like I get on there and I talk about God now and I talk about like real things. But I gained a big portion, not all of it, but I gained a big portion of my following with manifestation. Like I was doing a whole bunch of manifestation, new age, um, angel numbers,
mm,
scripting, all this other
yeah.
stuff. And one thing that I learned through that is that everything that you attain without God, once you get back into God, He's gonna take it away. And He's gonna give you it.
Sheesh.
He's gonna give you
Hold on. I'm sorry. Say that one more time. Say that one more time, buddy.
everything that you attain without God. Once you go back to God, because like I said, all roads lead back to God. He's gonna take away everything that you got through whatever other source that you were tapping into. But He doesn't take away to just take it away. He's going to take it away to restore and replace and renew and give you better than what you could have ever thought. And
Yeah,
like, I'm in the midst of that right now.
yeah. I
So,
wanna I wanna ask you, what do you desire out of life? Like, what are your desires?
we were talking about being a vessel. I definitely Like that's something that I really want to be. I want to be a vessel. I want people to look to me and see how good God is. Like I want people to see me and be like, wow, if God is that good to her, like I know he could be that good to me, you
Yeah.
know? And because my life has been so much on social media, a lot of people know a lot about me. And a lot of people feel like they don't deserve God's grace.
Mm.
And so I just want to be, like I said, a vessel. I want to be an example of how good God can be in your life if you just allow him to move and to work. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect or that my life is perfect, because let me tell you, it's the furthest thing right now. It's the furthest thing.
You ain't lying.
But I know that, oh, there's a scripture. Romans, is it 8? Romans 8:18. I feel like this is like the chapter of my life that I'm in right now. But Romans 8:18 says the sufferings that we are enduring right now can't compare to the glory that we'll see. And I just want people to see me and see that. Like she's been through this, but like look at how her life has bloomed and became all of this just because she gave it to God.
Yeah.
And other than that, I just want to give my son a good life.
No,
you know?
Fast.
But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Okay, cool. And before we close, I want to ask you this. Mainly like friend to friend. So like you saying you want to be a vessel, and like how do you like deal or shake with like the ones that are like, I guess you could say, envious or like jealous or like the naysayers? How do you block out the noise?
That's a hard one, and that's something that I definitely struggle with too. Like having a following on social media, because there's always going to be people. You can post the most positive thing, somebody's going to talk down on it.
Yeah.
But really, when I identify them and I see that this is a person that's, not really believing in my vision or not believing in what I'm seeing, number one, all you could do is pray. Pray that they are able to have the same level of faith that you have and maybe even greater. And then number two, I mean, just you got to separate sometimes. And that's the hard thing, because sometimes your biggest naysayers could be the people that you love the most.
Yeah.
But learning how to love some people from a distance, separate yourself, and even sometimes you might have to hold valuable information to yourself. Like you might want to tell somebody something so bad, but you never know what telling that person and then them being a naysayer could do to your own thought process subconsciously. You don't even want to allow that into your mental space, because you just got to make sure that through it all you can maintain your faith in God and your peace of mind.
Yeah.
And if you got to withhold, information or energy or time from people, you might just have to do that in the moment. That don't mean you can't love them.
Yeah.
That don't mean that once you reach your goals, you can't let them back in, but always stay prayed up about them.
Stay prayed up and get the hell on.
Absolutely. Sometimes that's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do, and that's a revelation that came to me this week. Like I sat down at my desk, and I kid you not, like I journal, I write. Man, I just started writing a full page of everything that was just coming to me. Because when I write, I feel like God is speaking through me, and just like, it's a practice that I take seriously, like writing and stuff like that. And it came to me, and it was just like, oh snap, I gotta leave him.
I
gotta leave him. But my thing was, and the biggest thing I struggle with is like I was raised on the fact like family is and you know it's crazy. You mentioned this on your TikTok about having a village, right? But it's like when I think of the word family, I was so raised on the fact like, never do wrong by your family blood, keep it first. But when I think about like the people I really call my family, or like majority of them are not blood.
Exactly.
You know? And it's like, while in a way I was like, why am I holding on to this like facade almost, like, oh snap, like I gotta be there for family, but they ain't really there for me.
For that's crazy. I just came to the same revelation. That's why I'm back from New York right now. I went to New York for 2.5 months. That's why I'm back. But yeah, sometimes like given family and chosen family a lot of times that chosen family is going to be your village. That's something that I had to learn as well.
Yeah.
And that's something I really had to like take deep in and be like, all right, I got to accept this. And that don't mean you can't love your family, but
you gotta deal with
you
a
can't
long-handed
have them
spoon.
expectations for them anymore. And a lot of
That's what
times
it is.
expectations will really like, it's hard when you gotta break them, but it's the reality sometimes.
It's the reality of it. But no, this has been a great conversation.
It has.
And I hope someone out there that's listening, watching, has got something from this. Because, like I said, this is the harvest, and we can come here to harvest empowering conversations. Um, much love to Jay. Appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Taking
It's been
time out of your
good.
day. No problem, no problem. Taking time out of your day to come here and talk. It's been good. But thank you.
I definitely appreciate the
Thank you. No
opportunity.
doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you back next week on another episode of The Harvest.